everybody, welcome to We're All Geeks. My name is Kenny, and over to my left...
I'm Felipe.
And today we got a lot to talk about. We're going to kick it off with the biggest news since we last recorded, and that is the PlayStation 5.
PlayStation 5.
Confirmed that it is called the PlayStation 5, and it is coming out holiday 2020.
Yeah, not to be outdone by Microsoft.
No, Microsoft announced a little bit early, and we had the discussion that, man, maybe that's a little bit early.
Yeah.
You still got to sell consoles in 2019. No one cares.
True, yeah. I wonder if part of this was because Microsoft already went, then now Sony's like, no, we're coming out too.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I was surprised at how much information that they're like, oh yeah, you know, here it is.
Here it is, backwards compatible with your VR and the games. The details on the controller, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But, I mean, it's not surprising by any means, any of what they actually said. Like,
yeah.
It's the PlayStation 5. Yeah, because they're not weird and didn't want to call it the PlayStation 1. How Microsoft?
Yep.
How homies? And then, you know, that it's coming out holiday 2020. They were not going to be that far after the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of knew it, you know. We knew it, but it wasn't confirmed.
It was weird because, not that this kind of half announcement thing that happened, it was a little weird because they had already had that interview in Wire magazine with Mark Cerny, and he already kind of named a lot of this stuff. And I remember when I first read that, being like, this is so weird. He's naming spec from a console that they haven't officially announced, and it's like, no, yeah, we're doing this. But then, you know, the only new information that we really got was we got name, which again, weird that it's not like in a press conference or in a press event, like, oh, by the way, PlayStation 5. And
I wonder if it's because like the Wired was gonna get only picked up by, you know, our gaming publications,
right?
IGN, GameSpot, Kotaku, you know, all those spots. They were gonna talk about it, but like, I don't know. I didn't see any mainstream stuff about it.
I think that will come.
It will
when
come.
they do whatever event showing everying. So
that will come. I think I've maybe seen it mentioned a couple times that, hey, PS5's a thing. Here's the date, you know. But yeah, I'm still interested to see what the console looks like. We got details on this new controller. It's gonna have pressure sensitive triggers that you can increase the pressure that is required to push down on it or whatnot. That the games can actually do that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of like a feedback feature of.
Yeah, kind of like the mic in the PS4 controller.
Yeah.
Not the mic, the speaker.
Yes, but you know, something different. Like what they talked about was that the triggers could, you know, you can change the sensitivity, so it's not like every trigger press is the same. So depending on the game you're playing, like that can add to the experience of you. Like, you know, maybe you're pressing a brake, you know, pressing the brakes on a driving game, and then as you really press down, then it starts to like kick a little bit or start to like give you some feedback. That'd be really interesting. And of course, other games, you know, like some shooters or something like that, get some of the feedback more in the trigger instead of just a controller.
The trigger sensitivity is actually a feature of the individual guns.
Right.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah, like that'd be cool instead of just, you know, more on the trigger than the controller itself. Because right now, it's just whenever you need to give any sort of feedback, it's just the controller rumbles.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but you know, that'd be cool with so many more possibilities, you know, like some people that have seen some prototypes saying that it looks similar to the PS4 controller.
Which is interesting because I thought they were gonna, me personally, I thought they were gonna take out the touchpad because I don't think enough use.
Well, but here's the thing. If it's gonna be backwards compatible with the PlayStation 4, there's a lot of games that have used the touchpad as not just an extra. Most of the time, they just use it as an extra button, but some of them have.
It's timeout in Madden.
Right? Some of them have like, if you swipe up, I always remember like Killzone Shadowfall. Like you have to swipe up or down or left and right to like change your drone, or I forget exactly what it was, but things like that. You know, I remember in The Witcher, if you press down, it open up the menu, but if you like swipe up, then you open up the map. And that right there, they could just remove that feature. But there's some games that use the touchpad. So, I just wonder, like, is the touchpad still going to be there? Is the light bar still going to be there? If it's going to be backwards compatible, and there's some games that use...
I mean, if you're going to use the PSVR, then the camera needs to be able to see that.
Yeah, because that's how it tracks. So
I don't imagine it's going to be taken out. Also, though, I don't know. There's not... All those games are early enough, and the only one you mentioned that I'm, like, thinking is a classic is Witcher, so...
For the touchpad? Yeah, I'm struggling to really think of one that really takes advantage.
I mean, yeah, Infamous Second Son, I remember, had something with it.
Most of the time, it becomes like a trackpad for like a map. Like you open up the map and you can move your thumb around and it will move it around, but
at some point, it just became the select button.
Yeah. So
instead of the share button.
I wonder, are they going to add more buttons to it? Like, is the share button still going to be there? Like,
I think the share button, they had enough success with the share button.
I think so too. In the culture that we have now of just like, hey, hit this button to get a screenshot or like start recording or streaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's here to stay. But the touchpad, I don't know. I don't know that there's enough games that use it so much that they're going to be like, yeah, this is a requirement.
Yeah.
I mean, and we've already seen Sony can do the PlayStation, push updates to change things. Mm-hmm. Like, they changed, if you have a PS4 Pro, that's how you get 4K.
Right.
It's pushed through an update.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them just, maybe there's a patch, or maybe they're just like, this functionality just doesn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? But I just don't see them removing that. Like, it's... Some games use it, and I think they use it well. And unless they have something crazy that they're going to replace it with, I remember before all these announcements, people were like, "Oh yeah, you might have a screen on it, or like a touch screen or something." But
I don't think we need a touch screen on it.
I wouldn't want it because. So there's a light there on the controller. Can you tell me the last time that light played had any effect on any game that you played?
No, I mean it has a cool effect where if you're dying in a game.
But I don't look down. Like, that's the thing is I'm playing. I'm like,
not looking there. I don't care what's going on with my controller except the times that it does something exceptionally cool. For example, Death Stranding. Supposedly the baby's going to talk to you through the whatever the hell that means. Like.
Yeah, but that's with the speaker, not the light. Because games like. Evil Within 2, they had some cool stuff that there's this kind of ghostly enemy that would like go through walls, but you'd hear first from the controller, and I thought that was a super interesting touch of just like all of a sudden I hear my controller like ooh, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where's this thing? That was cool, but I don't know. I hope they don't remove it, but guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure sometime early next year there'll be.
Yeah, I'm pegging February.
Probably, build enough hype. Definitely before E3, I think.
Yeah, and E3 is where I think Microsoft is going to announce their stuff.
You don't think they'll do what they done last time?
They did it last time, and I don't know if that worked to their advantage, like it did for Sony.
Well, both Sony and Microsoft last time
they went out and they had their own events. Sony did it well and correctly, and Microsoft didn't.
Well, I think it's because Microsoft, that was like hubris of like, hey, we're 360s outselling everything. We're coming into this generation being the best seller, even though eventually like PlayStation 3 through many years was catching up and I think eventually caught up. But they didn't just announce like, hey, here's a console. Here's all in one.
It's weird how the loser in quotes is always they're just more hungry when the next one comes around, and I think we've seen that even now with Switch. Like Nintendo made a really good console after making a very bad one.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's been, and
Sony, they won with the PlayStation 2 and then PS3, get a second job to pay for it.
Right.
They just message it wrong, and I think. So I'm hoping that Microsoft doesn't do that, but I am curious because everything else they've done. The X was announced at E3. The Pro wasn't.
But those things are like sidesteps. They're not.
They are sidesteps, but Sony is definitely doing an event because they did a PS4 Pro event.
I think that both of them will do an event before E3 to get all that information out there first, before E3. Like, here's specs, here's what the UI looks like, here's, backwards compatibility or not, blah, 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 blah. Here's all this other stuff. At E3, yeah, touch of some of that, but here's games. Games.
Well,
Because you think they'll take the time, these companies... Well, first of all, we'll see if Sony even does, a E3 show. Because last year, or this past year, they...
Go ahead.
They went the Nintendo route, so I don't know if now, hey... It would make sense them, like, not doing it this year that passed because they didn't have a lot to show. But now, this coming year, like, boom, new console, all these games that, some studios have been working on for years. I could see them coming back, but also, like, we already missed one, so maybe we'll just do the video.
We missed this one because we had
nothing to show.
We had nothing to say. And, we haven't even talked, I don't think we ever talked about, like, the changes that E3 as a show is undergoing, it becoming a consumer show instead of a business-to-business show. So that's the one reason I think they might skip is because it's not your chance to get into USA Today. It's not your chance for the New York Times to be covering our industry anymore if it's going to be such a PAX.
Right. Yeah. Because see how much coverage those news outlets give to PAX versus how much coverage they usually give to E3.
But also PAX is never. I'm gonna say this. And then I'm going to backtrack immediately. PAX has never had announcements on the scale of E3.
Of course, yes.
The one exception is Borderlands 3 being announced this year at PAX East.
Yeah.
And even then, though...
But PAX usually gets, like, maybe, a handful of games, if there are announcements, where E3 gets all of the games, So, I get it. I just...
And also, those conferences have never been part of E3 proper. E3 proper is, the...
I know, but like every year, it keeps going like further back, like to the point of this past year started Saturday.
Yeah, technically EA Plays stuff was on Saturday, and it was actually last year too. EA Plays.
Yeah, so then Saturday, and then Bethesda got in, started doing a Sunday show, and then this year Microsoft also did a Sunday show, and so. And
Sony will go after Microsoft, and Nintendo will close out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. And
that's how it is.
Yeah, I hope they come back next year for E3. But also, Sony, with their PS4 announcement, they did bring a lot of games.
Right.
I believe that's where Infamous Second Light was announced. The Goat Knack was announced there, stuff like that. The only thing they didn't show off was the console itself at that show and the price point.
Yeah, but then they had that preview event. See, but that's the thing is, that's why I'm like, I'm not sure because the event beforehand was like, there was all these rumors that there was a new PlayStation. We didn't know name. We didn't know who was working on what. There was no...
We had no idea.
We had no idea of anything. Anything, right? So then they had, hey, Sony has an event to make a big announcement. So everyone was like, okay, this is clearly going to be the new PlayStation announcement. And then they went, okay, PlayStation 4, and it's this, and blah, blah, blah.
And we went to everybody, and we talked to them about what they need. And we basically, hey, we're sorry we made the processor so weird on the PS3. We talked to the people who actually make
get out of here.
Yeah, we talked to the people who actually make the games. They said this is what we should do. So
they're like, it's really hard, you guys. I just want to make it on a PC. Can you just make it like a PC? I'm like, all right, I guess.
Yeah, and Mark Cerny, who is, as far as I've heard about Mark Cerny, the smartest guy in every room he walks into, and then he never acts like it though. But he apparently was the one who said, yeah, let's do it. Let's make it a PC. Let's make it easier to develop for. Let's put a 500 gig hard drive, which, hey, turns out not big enough for a console.
Right? I remember first time when that was like, what? That's a lot. Nowadays, Red Dead's like, oh yeah, it's 110. You know,
what was it, a year and a half later we got a 50 gig Batman Arkham, and then everyone was like,
it's like, what?
Oh my god,
games are huge.
Yeah, now that 500 gigs might cover Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah. That's why it's like, because of all these things, now I'm not sure if they'll do an event or not, because they've kind of covered a lot of this stuff. So I feel like maybe they can just be at E3 like, hey, by the way, this is what the console looks like, this is the controller, price point, games.
You're absolutely right. They could. They won't. Because if they announce outside of E3, they take that news cycle.
That's true. I mean, and that's usually what they want to do.
The only thing anyone will talk about when they announce, if they go out in February and they're, just pick a random Tuesday in February and say, hey, we're going to have this conference, we're going to announce something and then announce it, no one will talk about anything but the PlayStation 5. You go out and you do that at E3, you are competing with Nintendo, which, who knows what they announce, but you'll be competing with them.
And whatever the new...
We don't rank them for no reason, man.
Yeah.
You're out there competing. We're not going to rank them. We're just going to tell you how awesome the PS5 thing was.
Yeah.
And the Xbox, same thing. We'll tell you how awesome that Xbox thing was. So that's why I think they have to have an event, because that dominates the news cycle for that period of time.
Right.
You get a whole week to a week and a half of just running the town.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see.
We will.
Hopefully, I don't know, got a lot of hopes. They talked about some other stuff about like UI related stuff that didn't make a whole lot of sense without seeing it.
Well, and I mean, UI never makes sense if you can't see it.
I know, but you know what I really want? Oh my gosh, this is my dream for me personally. Because Microsoft does this. Let me see progress on my trophies somewhere in the console, in the game, or whatever. Microsoft, it's keeping track of this stuff in the background. And so with the achievements, it does that. And so whenever you're playing, get 100 kills with this thing. Every now and then it's like, boom, you got 22 kills already, So like it just kind of pops up and it goes away, and you can go in and check the progress. Oh my gosh, I would freaking love if the PlayStation did that.
Yeah.
But again, that's just me. So that'd be cool.
That's why you're the chief trophy officer.
That's right, and we're going to talk about some trophies that I got.
Okay,
right now? In a minute? Okay, what else?
One more thing that started popping up.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You might be getting this platinum trophy, though.
Yeah, probably will.
From the sounds of it. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, my friends.
Yes.
So, if you'll remember, a few weeks ago, came on this show. Not this chair. I believe it was a different chair.
Yeah, it was Studio A.
It was Studio A. And I said, I think Star Wars has the potential to be my game of the year. And this man laughed at me.
I was dumbfounded.
He did not understand how those words could
I was blindsided, some would say.
He did not understand how those words came out of my mouth.
I didn't. I still don't.
And then today, the previews start popping. I would like to tell you that Brian Altano played this game.
Oh, yeah?
And did say this could easily end up on his Game of the Year list.
Okay. Okay. Now let me throw some.
Brian Altano for my channel. Go read his whole article, by the way, because at the end of it, you know how they did have like little bios and stuff. This one had like a paragraph about Star Wars, and it was amazing.
Okay. Let me throw some revisionist history at you. I don't believe that
You didn't laugh.
Well, it's more like I think I was surprised. Not that I ever thought that this game was not going to be good. Like I still it was just, I think in the it just doesn't have the maybe the hype of all these other games yet.
Yeah, that's the key. But for me it does.
No, yeah, and then for everyone, like for me, whatever. Before Torchlight 2 came out, I was all like, "Oh my gosh, Torchlight 2 is coming out," and then no one's playing it, but that's fine. I love it.
No,
but from speaking of the the previews that kind of started coming out, very good buzz.
Yeah,
for sure.
So it sounds like it has everything we've seen before. It has the Uncharted Tomb Raider-ness of the traversal and stuff like that, and then words started getting thrown around like God of War-esque combat.
Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say. The videos that I saw reminded me a lot of like the God of War combat.
And then the Metroid Prime Metroidvania.
Yeah, get different abilities, different skills to go somewhere else. Yeah.
You know, people start throwing around that. Altono in his article brings up Dark Souls, where there is very much a bonfire system and a retrieval system, where if you die, you need to go get your stuff back, and you're starting at this point.
Really?
That's what was in his article. From again, go give IGN the click. Check out this article. It was amazing. It was outstanding. But that is the only part that I was like, okay. And I'll get into a little bit later.
Well, I mean, it will depend on how hard they go. Where, there's games like Dark Souls where it's like, okay, go and you die. The stuff's right there. You have to go back and get it. All the enemies respawn. And by the time you get there, if you die again, you lose everything, right? But then there's games like Darksiders 3, which kind of did a little bit of that, where if you go, you die, come back to a bonfire, all the enemies respawn, you go back to it. If you die again, you don't lose the first pile. It's all there. So you can die 100 times. And
just go recollect yourself.
Yeah, and that would happen with me. Like, I'd be playing the game, and then eventually, I backtrack somewhere. All of a sudden, there's just like a pile of souls, and I'm like, oh, I never got this. I guess I died here at some point and forgotten. It's just there waiting for you. So, that's not as punishing.
Right. And so I'm not saying I've never enjoyed that kind of system. Nier Automata used that a little bit too, and almost worse, because that was the only way you could save your game. You went back to a save point, not. I don't know. That I don't love that though. I don't love the Souls punishing style. But I don't know if this is going to be as punishing.
Yeah, it's all about how it's implemented, and until actual reviews come out, or until you get a copy, of the game,
we won't know.
Yeah, and it could be a thing that like with using Darksiders as the example, because it's one that kind of, the previous games weren't like that at all, and now this one does. Like, I think it worked for it, and I liked it. So hopefully, people over Respawn think they know what they're doing.
Well, I think they do too. And this is the first time that studio's made like a third-person action game. They're guys known for Apex, Titanfall 1 and 2 preceding that, and I absolutely love Titanfall 2.
Yeah. So
And these are also the guys who really made Call of Duty what it was, because they're the guys who really did Modern Warfare.
Yeah, there's guys, they made like this. That's maybe what a lot of people don't know, because it's just been kind of such a weird history, but like they made Call of Duty what it was, or what it is nowadays. They're the one that kind of blew it up.
I can't remember if they were the founders or what, but they were the leads on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 and 2 and left during the development of 3.
Yeah, so they're the ones, especially Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which, hey, reboot coming out here in like 10 days or something. Like, they're the ones that made this juggernaut, And so now they left, they made Titanfall, which is, the first one was almost like a proof of concept, and then number 2, fantastic game.
Number 2 was a first-person shooter platformer.
Yes.
And it implemented everything well. So, I'm very excited. The bad stuff that I've seen, the people saying stuff bad, is that, it could be a better platformer. But again, this is a preview build.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna improve. If it's already good at the preview build, then I think it's gonna get better when we. And
then it all depends on what this game's trying to do. Like if it's more combat and story, and there's some platforms thrown into it, then if it's not perfect, or if it's not like super intuitive or whatever, that's fine, like an Uncharted game. Like an Uncharted is like, there's some exploration, and some platforming, so to say.
Every once in a while, you turn into a mass murderer.
Yeah, not every once in a while. It's like all the time.
Right.
That man is a murderer. For show.
Him and Warcraft.
Oh yeah.
They killed a lot of people.
They do. Oh, let's talk about that. Let's not talk about
that. All right. Let's not talk about that. Let's wrap up Fallen Order. On this note, during the previews, they said they had about a 3-hour window, and they did not even scratch the surface of the planet that they were on. And you get to pick planets.
And there's multiple planets.
And there's multiple planets, and that it is the Metroidvania-esque, that you'll go here so that you can get this ability, and then maybe you can go there to get this ability because of that, and that continues the story this way. And also, I'm hyped as all get out for the story. I really am.
Yeah.
Following Order 66, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Kind of filling in that gap. What was life like there for someone who might have had powers? And I know that's been kind of tread in Rebels and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like this guy. We're not necessarily going to see Obi-Wan Kenobi in this game or anything like that. Like, he's probably going to be the Jedi.
Right.
The only Jedi we see. And even then, Jedi might be getting thrown around loosely here. We don't know.
There's that other, on the trailer, they showed this other lady who takes, I think she's the one that's like training him.
Yes, there is a former Jedi in the game.
Yeah.
Who, after Order 66, she cuts herself off from the Force. And so she might be training him a little bit and giving him hints, but she's not a Jedi anymore.
I mean, we'll see.
We will see. We will see. That seems so far away. Felipe.
It's like a month away.
It's so far away.
It is.
If I wanted to know what you were playing today, where would I go?
To our YouTube page.
Yes, you would go right here.
Yes, you go. You're there. You're there now. Don't go anywhere else. Don't go anywhere. You're here.
I have to get my kind of funny reference in.
I know. No, I saw it coming, and I was just like, I'm not prepared for this. You go to the official list of the two guys that are talking about video games right here on this channel right now.
Yeah, sure.
And I've been playing. So I play a few games.
Okay.
First one I play is a game called Concrete Genie.
All right, I'm interested in this. This is the graffiti one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not very long.
Okay.
Played in one. No, I won't say in one sitting, but I played in a day. Mm-hmm. Really interesting concept. Like, for people that don't know, you play as these kids who they don't really touch a lot of this stuff in the story. Now that I'm thinking about it, but basically, you eventually come upon this magical brush, and you're like an artist and stuff like that, and eventually you can go up to a wall and you can paint like a genie or paint a body of something, and then that comes to life, and that's how you go through like puzzles and stuff like that. There's not really like combat per se. It's a lot of just puzzle and like exploration, but the genies are always like stuck to the walls. So then, like, if you need to open this, if you need to have your genie open or hit the switch, but if there's no wall connecting it, then you have to like move some stuff around to then like bring down this, roll up a metal door or whatever, so now the genie can walk past it and then do the thing. But really charming, really interesting. Like, the genies, you can have like multiple ones at the same time because it's part of the story, part of the puzzles. You can customize them however you want, and as you paint them, that's how they will appear. So you have like a selection of bodies, and then like different accessories like horns or ears or tails and whatever. And it's really like, you can use the remote, like motion sensor to paint, or you can just use the stick. But, if you go and you paint just a super straight line, then your genie's like super tiny. If you go from like, top to bottom, then your genie just like his head is at the bottom, and like his, the rest of his body kind of goes up. Like, it's however you paint. If you paint him sideways, adds, 17 antlers and like 3 tails. And then once you hit like create genie, then and he's there. And it's really interesting, very colorful. There's some VR missions. I didn't get a chance to touch on those. But yeah, it reminded me a lot of just that feeling that you play, like when you play, not as intense as like a Journey or something, but just a interesting game with interesting mechanics, looks fun, but not super long. I think it took me like 8 hours or so to finish the game. Okay. A lot of exploration, a lot of collecting. Like, there's pages of your notebook that are scattered around that you have to like find, and then as you find them, then that unlocks different customizations for your genies. And then there's different genies. There's a fire one that will burn stuff, an electric one that will turn switches on, a water one, and a air one. So it's cool. I liked it a lot, actually. So
and that one wasn't $60 release, right?
No, so that one is, I think it's like 30, yes. Yeah. I think it's $29.99, so
worth the pickup for the price point, you would say?
Well, it depends. Like, definitely if you have a VR and if you're interested in the VR stuff, because there's different VR missions that you can use to paint.
VR stuff, and that looks awesome.
Yeah, that looks really interesting. Like I said, I haven't been able to check that one out yet, or the VR part of it yet, but if you've seen some of the trailers, if you like the aesthetic of it, I say pick it up. Yeah, a lot to do. Kind of charming game. Like the story, I think is kind of interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I've been playing another game, but do you want me to? Do you want to go with your game? You want me to keep going?
Yeah.
All right. So
let's wrap up everything you got.
And then the next thing that I played was The Surge 2.
Okay.
So tell me everything you know about The Surge.
It's a video game.
Cool.
Honestly, that's about it. I can't even remember. This isn't an XCOM. This is a first person.
Okay. You don't know anything about The Surge. And that's the thing. That's why I'm bringing this up, is because Surge is super underrated. Like, not a lot of people really played it. And the second one, I feel like it came, and maybe I saw like a couple articles on Kotaku about it, and that's about it. So The Surge is a Dark Souls. So that's probably one of the reasons why you're not super into it.
I'm going to check out the elevator music.
So it's a Dark Souls, but the thing that they did different was the limb targeting system, where you would fight an enemy, and when you lock onto them, then you can like use the stick to either target their head or the legs or the arm or the body.
Oh, okay. So like those types of bosses
and then
certain games.
And you would fight them, and then let's say like you need this guy's weapon. So you target the arm that he's holding the weapon, and then you're just fighting him, and then eventually once you whittle down this like little armor icon, you can just do an execution. He chops off the arm, and now the enemy drops the weapon. And that's how you get like all of your gear. So if there's an enemy that has this cool helmet, you target the head, boom, 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 chop off the head. Now you unlock these schematics, so then you can make the helmet yourself. So,
and you can't get those schematics by doing a regular kill?
No. But they're not bosses. It's just the regular enemies, just like the fodder that you're walking around, you know, and it's randomized almost, where like when you die, you drop all your scrap is what they call it, and then you go back to like a medical station, and so it's there. If you die again, you lose completely. You have to like run back to it to pick it up. But the enemy, so let's say like you fought an enemy and he had like a helmet and then like just one shoulder or one armor on the arm, and the rest he didn't have anything, so he takes more damage on the stuff that's not armored versus what's armored. But then if you die and you go back, the same enemy could be there and he could be fully armored now. So it kind of all depends. So but there's plenty of enemies and plenty of like sets. Because you can there's a helmet, a chest, 2 arms and legs, and I think there's at least like definitely over 20 sets, but close to 30 sets that you can get. And then every set, like there's a partial set bonus and a full set bonus, so you can kind of mix and match. Okay. It's a faster style Dark Souls, like it's faster combat.
Okay, now I'm interested.
Yeah, because Dark Souls is so like lumbering, you know. It's not as fast. It's a good in between. Sekiro's really fast, I think, combat, and Dark Souls is super slow, and I think the Surge is kind of in between. Okay. Depending on the weapon, if you have a big 2-handed weapon, it's going to be slow. If you're dual wielding stuff, or if you have a spear or one-hander, it's much faster. Story was interesting, like bosses were interesting, like everything. Like it's the thing I didn't get with Code Vein. You know, when I played Code Vein, where you had like, it's a Dark Souls style, but it has maps and it has like everything laid out. This game is not like that, and so going through the game, it was that true exploration sense of, how do I get here? Like you eventually go, around enough, you open up a door and like, oh, this leads back to this one thing. So I open up a shortcut. So, there's things like that. It's been really interesting. If you like the Dark Souls style games, I definitely would check out The Surge. If you haven't played the first one, I would recommend that one as well. But number 2, ton of fun. I think it took me like 30 hours or so to finish. Just really, just really fun. Like, actually, surprisingly, it's probably in my top 5 games of this year right now, The Surge 2. That's how much I kind of really like this game. So, yeah, it's been fun.
And then you got one last game to talk about, to put on your Chief Trophy Officer hat.
Well, so, yes, so I had already finished Borderlands 3, and then I did everything else on Borderlands 3. I got my Platinum Trophy on Borderlands last night. Yes. I got the platinum trophy on Concrete Genie too. That's a pretty easy platinum.
I was gonna say it didn't sound like it was
a pretty easy one. And then Surge 2, I'm like 2 trophies away, but I have to like replay the game again, and I just don't have the time to go through that again. I ain't got time to play another game, or the same game twice. I got to move on to other games. So
I feel you.
Yeah.
Feel you. We'll get into that here in a minute.
Yeah, no, Borderlands is still fun. There's supposed to be like some sort of Halloween event happening in the next few, probably like week or so. New boss, new location, new items, stuff like that. So yeah, it's
weird timing for a Halloween event.
Yeah, it's weird. I wish they would, have released it already, but I guess they're waiting for a week or so. But okay, yeah, it's fine.
It's weird stuff.
But yeah, that's kind of all I've been playing. So
cool. So I have a couple games to talk about. I've talked about both from here before. The first one I want to talk about is the one I actually beat. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening on Switch.
Cool.
My God, I see why this game is so highly regarded by everybody. Like how everyone kind of feels like this is the best Game Boy game of all time. I get it.
Yeah.
It's a very good game, and particularly with the style that this one is done in, it just oozes charm. Like the little plastic-looking Link and everything like that. I do have to admit, I suck. Some of the puzzles were hard, and I had to use a guide.
Ain't no shame in that.
No, play your way. I don't care. But I had a blast with it. It was a lot of fun. Great puzzles. Charming story. The town is so charming. The trade sequence is so cool. I really enjoyed that game. It's a good one. If you haven't played Link's Awakening before, give it a check.
How long did it take you?
I would say overall 10 hours.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good length.
18 deaths. It keeps track of your deaths.
So does the Surge. I died 147 times.
Okay. 18.
18 deaths. Okay.
I don't feel so bad anymore.
Yeah.
But also I didn't lose all my gear every time I died too, so that was nice. And then one thing, the boomerang is just too good.
Yeah.
Like, it's godlike. As soon as you're able to get the boomerang, you need to get the boomerang. And I'm sure everyone out there who's played the game is like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, I got you.
We know, but no, the boomerang made the game so much more fun, and it's good. Man, it was so good.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check it out.
Yeah, definitely pick it up. Like, it's good. And also, this is the second Zelda game I've ever beaten. For context,
Oh, yeah?
like I do not define myself as a Zelda fan. Breath of the Wild, I beat it. It was great, amazing. Was not even my game of the year that year. I gave that to Horizon. But this one is fantastic and makes me want to go back and play more of the top-down Zelda stuff, because this was the first top-down that I did.
You never play like a
I shouldn't say I never played. Like, I did. I think even when SNES and NES stuff was coming to the Switch, I went through and I would try to play the other Link games.
Like Link to the Past and stuff like that, or never played that?
No, I don't think I played Link to the Past. Which one was that one? Was that with Game Boy as well?
No, so that's the one that people, like, before Breath of the Wild came out, that was the one that people were like...
the SNES one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I've definitely played it. I know I've played it. I haven't beaten it, and I've only played it for a couple hours, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I've just never liked that style.
Yeah.
I don't...
It's again another one of those that falls under, and there's a whole category of games like that where, like, if you don't play it when it's new or somewhat new, like maybe it's been a few years since it's been out, if you don't play around that area, you just don't...
You don't get it.
Not so much that you don't get it, you don't get the reverence for it.
Right.
Because, like, other games will see it, oh my God, this game is fantastic. Other games will now incorporate this stuff into it, and then it just almost becomes part of, like, just video games in general.
And I mean, if they...
And that's where, like, a lot of that stuff was from there,
right.
So...
And if they did, like, a Link to the Past in this style, like, remade it for the Switch, and especially if they used this style.
They did a 3DS, kind of half... I don't know if it was a sequel or something, but it was Link... I think it was Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
That's not the one that he gets, like, a paper Link and he goes into the wall, is it? I don't remember. I haven't played that one yet, but there was one that kind of reminded me of, like, Link to the Past, and I think it's like not a remake, but almost like a pseudo sequel, like spiritual successor type thing. So,
I mean, if we get into what's going on with the Zelda timelines and what's a sequel, what's not, like,
no,
we're already.
I know at one point I promised I explained the Zelda timeline, and
realistically, that's not happening.
That will never happen.
that will not happen. The other game I've been playing, Control.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got a little further in Control, and I debating if I want to go any further anymore.
All right.
And here's why. I feel like I'm to the point where I'm just beating my head against the wall.
Okay.
I played probably 6 hours. I cleared 1.5 levels.
Okay.
And I just because one of them was I was trying to do the fridge mission where you go into the fridge and fight that. I was trying to do that for a couple hours, so I'll give and I didn't even beat it. I stopped. And I did the mission right before that. I finished that. The boss Salvador was kicking my ass all around. And granted, I've only been playing here and there, so I might not be as good at the game, but he beat me through the walls. Like it was not fun for me. I finally beat him, like, okay, cool. Don't have to do that again. And then I'm not even at the boss in the next level. I'm not. I'm very early in the next level where the brother tells you go to this division to find out the truth. And I'm in that level, and I'm again just getting thrown through walls, and I am just getting destroyed. And I've probably tried for 2 or 3 hours on that, and I'm like,
Did you go like underground?
No. Is it the underground? No, I don't think so. You go back to the security section. And you just take a different route instead.
I'm trying to remember, because I definitely remember a spike in difficulty while I was playing the game, where there was a section where like everything was going mostly fine, maybe I get a little too cocky and just run and gun, and then I get destroyed.
I think I'm there. So it's the mission I just beat was the one where you go to Dylan's cell, where he's supposed to be. And he's not there. And then
it's been a bit, but the part that I'm talking about is you eventually drop down like a shaft. I won't say anymore.
You drop down. Yeah, you drop down a shaft. Is it right before the quarry?
Yeah, it's like right before the quarry.
Yeah, the quarry was a little bit of a pain.
No, not the quarry, because that's something else. Is you drop down from the main, like the main place. There's like some bathrooms, and there's like a big old like shaft that you can drop all the way down, and there's like a doctor lady there. She's looking for some spores and stuff like that. Any of this ring a bell?
The spores do, yeah. I don't know if I'm complete.
Because it's there, and then from there on, I kept going. Those things were like two-shotting me. Like, it got really hard, really quick.
I fought the mold people. Going to Dylan. I don't know. This spike might break me on this.
Yeah.
The thing it has going for it, I don't really have much else to play right now. I don't. Like, Madden finally went on sale, so I'm like, I could go get Madden and not be happy. I mean, but I beat Link's Awakening. I can only play so much Smash Bros. In a day, So it has that going for it, that I don't have anything else to do. But
still, it's no fun when you're like banging your hand against the wall and you're not either.
And also, so you're probably fine with this because you're a Souls fan. These checkpoints are killing me.
These checkpoints are garbage, for sure.
The checkpoint from security to the section, it's like the director selection section. And I did not mean that to rhyme. It just does. But it's like the prime candidate.
Yes.
Like, the distance between where you can spawn and where you go is annoying, and then sometimes enemies will spawn in that time. And I'm just like, no, this is taking too long for me to get back here. I've lost too much health to get back here and just get beat down. Like, I'm so tired of it.
No, I get it, and and games run into this for me a lot, where they sometimes it's like, it's fun, and then it's like maybe I'm getting annoyed because I'm dying so much, and then it gets fun, and it's like this back and forth. But when it's like, this is no longer fun, and then I'm still not having fun, and then you start to get even more frustrated, and then you make more mistakes, and it just.
It is because, like, I started playing Salvador one night, and then the next day I woke up and started again, and it took me another hour or so to finally beat him, and I was like, okay, cool, I beat him. Everything's good. And then I go fight the fridge monster. I'm like, you know what? This is an optional mission. I don't want to do this. And I went from getting beat down to getting beat down to getting beat down more. And the beat down more, I'm not even at a boss. Is the frustrating part.
I wonder if you're just under leveled.
I might be, because I don't think I've done too many of the side missions.
Yeah.
I also acknowledge I should have upgraded my launch a lot more than I have. I messed around too much with trying to get the mind control, the C's, up too much, and I should have been putting some more points into launch. Should have some more points into energy overall. I should have some more points into health overall. If I did some side missions, this would all get fixed, because that's the only way
but still,
to get
that's not a way to play a game, like, or to like design a game, like, hey, no, you got to do this other side content, because you're not gonna
and I don't, the main story is so fascinating to me still. I still want to beat this main story, but I don't want to have to leave it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I want you to keep playing until you get to this moment, but you're getting close enough to it, and it's not at the end of the game, but man, it's like best moment of the year. So
okay,
you're close to it, so we'll see.
And yeah, like I said, I don't have anything else to play, and I want to beat the game. I want to. I also am just tired. I'm just so tired of these enemies. I'm so tired of these dudes who also have telepathic powers and are swirling the bricks around them and stuff.
Yeah.
That's literally, if I could just kill that dude in this section, I would be good. But it's that dude, and then there's the thing that regenerates health.
Yes. Oh my gosh, those things suck.
There's the flying things, and there's
the huge eyeballs.
Yeah, the huge eyeballs. Those suck. There's the dude that's like sitting in a chair that's throwing stuff at me. I'm like,
I know.
I can only dodge so much, y'all.
Yeah.
And there's no way to lower the difficulty in this game. I thought it was weird when you kick it off and it does not ask you a difficulty. You can't lower it. You can't make it higher. I mean, normally I start on normal, and if it's too easy, I'll go up. If it's too hard, I'm gonna go down, and it's no, can't do it. There's nothing I can do except get my ass kicked, and then hopefully one day I land the right bullet somewhere, and
you're like, yay!
I'm able to clear, and then I go to the next section that's going to kick my ass.
Yep, because that's the that's the thing that I usually run into whenever I'm playing a Soul style game, is that this is so difficult, and then I eventually kill this boss, or I get past him, I'm like, now onto the next harder area. So
and I mean, I was so frustrated, I stopped playing games last night because of it. And by last night, I mean like at 5 o'clock.
You're like, I'm done.
Maybe if this gets too hard or too frustrating, I'll just switch over to Persona that I've been neglecting. And
welcome to my life now.
Yeah, but then I just got so frustrated. I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm watching TV. Cloak and Dagger ended in May. Let's watch that.
Right.
I haven't watched it yet.
Well, I hope you can keep going. But I get it. Like, if I've had games like that where it's like, what, this is just not fun anymore, and I have too many other things that I could be doing than like banging my head against the wall. So. And
I know the argument. Get good. I know the argument. I understand it. But
but there's that of like, hey, just learn to play, noob, right? But on the Surge too, I was playing it. I eventually, through like once you finish the game, it tells you like how many times you died. There was one boss I died 47 times to.
Oh yeah.
And
I know that guy.
And I just kept going and going and going and going to the point. And again, it was an optional boss. And I was like, you know what? F this. I'm just gonna go and I'll come back to it. And so I kept going through the game. And then when I came back a couple hours later, I one-shotted that boss.
Of course.
So it's one of those things of like, where you are, like if you're doing some of the optional stuff, I remember running into like a spike in difficulty, and I remember like, okay, well, let me check some other side missions, do some other stuff, level up, put some more points into health, whatever, or try to get better I forget what those things are called. They're
the abilities.
Not the things you put into like
Ability points.
Not just the ability points, but you have like your system, like
the points.
I forget what they're called, but you know what I'm saying, like the little augmentation that you're like, hey, more health, or you use less energy, mods, right? So, I remember eventually like going, like, hoping, that I'll find something better, and then I found some other better stuff. Increased my health by 47%. I'm like, okay, sure. Just kind of did those things, and I just think that if you're liking the story now, I think you're really going to like how the story ends. Especially that moment that I'm talking about. It was really cool. That is worth it. But next up, like, what are you even going to play? Are you going to play Call of Duty?
I don't know.
Not at launch.
Yeah, the next game I have on my pre-order list is Death Stranding. And
yeah, that's in
I really
like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I wish I had it now. Because I wish I had something else to play, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm pick up Madden because it's on sale now, and I've wanted to pick up Madden anyways.
Yeah.
Even though Drew Brees is injured, and I don't know if I want to even play as the Saints, but whatever. We don't need to talk about my depressing sports life. My fantasy football.
Welcome to Sports Corner.
My fantasy football team's in trouble because Drew Brees is injured. Anyway, yeah. The next game I have coming out is Death Stranding, and that begins hell. Something else we didn't talk about. At least we have Doom that got pushed back. So
right.
So at least that I really wanted to play the new Doom too. But
and you will next year.
Well, no, I won't, because it moved from Hell to Hell 2.0.
Yeah.
Like right in between.
Right. Now I wonder really, because yes, it's right now smack in the middle of all the big games that are supposed to be coming out.
It's March, so it's after Final Fantasy VII, before Cyberpunk. I wanted to call it CD Projekt Red, but I know that's the makers. It's before Cyberpunk, and it's still only a month removed from The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very obvious that the game's just not done. Because you wouldn't move from then to there.
Yeah, I wonder though if they'll be like, well, now it's kind of really crowded, so we're going to push it a little more. But
I don't think Bethesda could do it again.
I don't think they could. I don't think they could or would, but
they can. Considering how much they pushed the last Doom. The
2016 Doom?
Yeah, that one got pushed quite a bit, so they could. But I don't know.
I don't know. I thought, a rush game
is bad forever.
Disappoints you forever. A delayed game disappoints you once. A
delayed game is eventually good. Whatever the Miyamoto quote is.
Right. So, but it makes sense. Like, I'd rather them push and push and push until it's out and it's good and it's working properly and it's what they wanted to make, versus like, we put this out and then we'll just patch it as we go. So.
Well, yeah, but we were talking about Bethesda. Isn't that what they...
Well, we're talking about id.
We're talking about
like Bethesda's the publisher. It's different. This is not Fallout.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of Fallout, so you're not going to try the Fallout clone that comes out here in about a week or so? The Outer Worlds?
No.
No?
That looks far more interesting to me than Fallout.
I'm not a fan of Fallout at all, but
because it's the space and the sci-fi, and I'm all about the space and the sci-fi rather than the yellow palette.
Right, the super monochromatic
of Fallout. But no, I probably won't. It looks interesting enough to me, but nah, I don't want to drop $60 on that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's going to be a lot of games coming out here.
That's the thing. That game is going to be very long, and I don't want anything going into Death Stranding because of how fast you have to make that decision.
But are you going to try Death Stranding before Jedi? You're going to be playing Death Stranding? And
no, I'm taking the weekend off, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to see what it's all about. Like I'm gonna try it. I have to make a decision on it quick. I will trade that game towards Jedi if that game is not good.
Okay.
I will get rid of it very, very fast if I have to turn it on the cinematic mode where it's super easy and there's no problems and everything.
Just like I just want to go through it.
I will know how I feel about that game by the time Jedi comes out.
Cool.
and then Jedi and Pokemon come out, and you know life's gonna be good. At that
That's
point.
right.
It's gonna be hard.
That's right. Lots to do,
games.
bud.
It's gonna be good.
I know. Yeah.
It's gonna be good. I feel like that's the way we end every.
It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good.
Because it can't get any more. What? No. Can it get any worse? It can, for sure. For sure. But it's good right now.
It's good right now.
Video games.
Video games, guys. Video games, man.
They're all right.
December's the only month we don't have a big release.
That's, you know what? That's okay. There's plenty of games that will keep us like lots to do. I am good with no new release.
No, I'm good with that. This December. I also need to. I work retail, guys. December's not fun.
That's right. Me too.
If you've never worked retail during the holidays, you don't know.
Please be nice to us.
Just be nice. The person behind the counter. They have a soul. They're not making that much. Just be nice to them. Mm-hmm. All right. But I think that's about time for the show today. We start talking about life working retail. What games have you gotten so frustrated by that you had to walk away from your console? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. It really helps us out. We really like to quit our retail jobs, guys.
Or let's go down to part-time. Let's, reasonable goals. Down to part-time. Yeah, we'll work on it. We'll work on it.
We'll see you next time. I'm Kenny.
I'm Felipe.